Hi, and welcome to another video by Jim the Car Guy. Today's problem is that when the customer turns on the air conditioning only blows out through the top vents. They can't control it to come out through the face of the dashboard as it's supposed to. It only comes out to the top no matter where you change the controls to. First thing we're going to do, and it's a very common problem, is underneath the hood here there's a vacuum chamber down behind or down underneath the windshield wiper motor assembly. It's a real tight spot to get to, but we need to check. First thing we got to do is check to make sure that there's vacuum going into it, make sure the check valve is okay, and then we're going to check to make sure that there's vacuum coming out and going into the dashboard. So this is what I'm going to do. This is our main feed coming in right there. That's where it brings a vacuum into the vacuum chamber. So you need to pull that off right down there and check to make sure you have vacuum going into the chamber. Then when you see this check valve here, this check valve is a one-way valve. It lets vacuum in, but it will not let it come back out through that portion of the valve right there. So here it'll go into the dashboard, the vacuum, and then there it'll bring vacuum from here back into the dashboard also. So we're going to check this valve to make sure we only have flow one direction, which is what we need to do. It only can flow in one direction. It can flow in, but it can't flow out. So we're going to check that with a vacuum gauge, and then we're going to check to make sure that this unit here actually holds vacuum with the vacuum pump. Like I said, it's going to be tough to film that and do it at the same time, so let me do that, and once we get this done, we'll come back and make sure I'll give you the update of what's going on. Everything down with those valves are okay, so we're going to go inside now. We're going to continue inside to make sure that everything works properly inside. Okay, so this is what we're up to. We're going to go inside the vehicle. We're going to remove the climate control unit from the vehicle itself. Once we remove the climate control unit, in the back of the unit, we're going to see this vacuum connector coming into it. What we're going to do is we're going to go to the source line here, which is going to be the black line, and we're going to check to see if we have vacuum coming through that black line in the connector. So, all right, let's take that dashboard apart and we'll continue. So I did pull this cover here off already, and as you can see, there's just a bunch of plugs in the back of it you just have to pull out. And this is actually, this piece is plugged, they just pop right in there. So what you do is just get behind it and you pull it and it comes right out. Alright, so we're just going to put that up on the top like that for now. Pull this head unit out and see what's going on in there. These are just a bunch of screws right here. We're going to take these out, so let me just take these screws out of here and we'll pull this unit out. Okay, so now we have all the screws out. We can pull this unit out here and we'll just hang it down like this so we can gain access to it. Now, the one that I was telling you about, that black vacuum hose right there, that's the one that comes from out underneath the dashboard, and this brings vacuum into this main climate control unit. So we're going to check now to see if we have vacuum on this black hose right here. Very important. If you don't have vacuum to that, then you got a problem up in the dashboard, and we're going to pray that we don't have that problem. So, all right, we got to take these out. We're just going to take out these two little pieces that are like, they're not really nuts, but they're sort of what holds this thing together. You got to be real careful because they are made of very cheap metal like this. I don't know if you can see that, but that's it. All right, so we're going to take these two out. And you really don't need a ratchet or anything, this because it's just screwing right onto the plastic here. All right, now you will need a vacuum gauge to actually check the vacuum in here. You could use a vacuum gauge. Let's just pull this out first. It comes out. All right, so we'll get that off like that. And now our black one is right there. So we know that that center one right there is our main feed. We should have vacuum coming through there. It should be anywhere, probably engine vacuum, which is anywhere from 15 to 20 inches of vacuum. So we're going to check it there and see. I'm not going to use a vacuum gauge. I'm just going to use my vacuum pump right here. And this is the end right here I'm going to put into that hose. So let's start it up and we'll see what happens. Like I said, it's very important that you have vacuum coming through here. Without vacuum in there, you're done. And as you can see, we do have vacuum through that one. So we know that the vacuum is actually in there, and I don't have my glasses on, but it looks like 20 inches of vacuum already. So we know it has adequate vacuum coming into it. After looking online, on my computer actually, I see that that this blue vacuum line right here is the vacuum line that controls the registers up here for air to come out of there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave my vacuum line plugged in right there. I'm going to turn my speeds back up again. And now I'm going to take the other end of the vacuum hose, because now this hose has vacuum flowing through that black line. We're going to connect it right into here, and we're going to see if these registers up in the top here work. So we'll plug that in like that, and I can feel it already. It's blowing out right through here. So what that's pretty much telling me is, unfortunately, that head unit right there is no good. Let me just finish a couple more checks on this, just to make sure that when I bring vacuum into these other hoses, it comes out down the bottom where it's supposed to be. But I'm confident that this head unit here is no good. So, all right, I'm hoping you can see right there. I know it's a little bit of a tight squeeze up in here, but we're going to take our hoses back out after we confirmed our repair. And by the way, it did hold vacuum. It never lost any vacuum through there. So now to get this plug out in here, you just push these little tabs in here, and you can rock them out. So let me just try doing that. All right, there's our old unit. Here's our new unit. Push it in and just snap it. Same thing here. All right. We're going to reattach our hoses on. These are all a vacuum. Of course, make sure you put it on the right way. Now you may want to just forget about these, but don't do it. Make sure you put them back on, because it holds the vacuum connector in place and it doesn't come out. You're going to screw it down. Just screw it down snug. You don't need to tighten it down with a ratchet or anything like that. Just screw it down like that. That's it. Let's just stick it in here temporarily. Let's turn the key on and start it up. Alright, let's turn it on. Bring our temperature down. Oh, I can feel it's working already. It's blowing out the face of the dashboard. Alright, let's make sure we have the AC. Normal air conditioning. Let's go with maximum air conditioning today, huh? Here we go. Now, I know you can't feel it, but I can. It's blowing out nice and cool right there. Nothing up on top. A little bit down on the bottom, which is normal. And we're going to change it to the floor. It stops blowing out of the vent, and it blows out down the bottom. Yep. Let's just go on defroster. That's it, blowing out just on the top. Everything seems to be working properly. So we're going to shut that off. And then now you don't have to come along, but I'm going to bring you along as I'm going to put these screws back in. When you screw this back together, I mean, you know you're not going to over tighten it and break anything. You want to catch all of them in there first before you do anything. Screw them all in. Catch them. Okay, so that's it. We're all done. Everything worked out perfectly. That's the head unit that we had to change. Hopefully that Dorman's product lasts a while, and you know, we get some good use out of it. All right, as always, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.